In this industry, we talk about safety, leadership, and culture, but underneath all of that is something more basic, taking care of each other. That's what today's guest is all about. Today, I sit down with Zach Spicer, the founder of Line Brothers Keeper, a nonprofit organization focused on brotherhood, support, and showing up for these linemen and their families when it matters most. I'm really excited for this one. Let's talk about it. You're listening to PowerGridTalks, from the bucket trucks to the boardrooms. I'm your host, Tom Williamson, a journeyman lineman with over 15 years in the trade. Here we bring you real stories and real conversations from the field to the executive suites of the electric utility world. It's about the people who keep the power flowing and the grid strong. Let's get to work. All right, so today we're out here with Zach Spicer from Line Brothers Keeper. How we doing, Zach?
Doing good, sir. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, man. I waited a long time for this interview. I appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me.
That was something, tried to get hooked up out there at the rodeo, and it just, I assume based off of your thought process and mine, it was absolutely overwhelming.
Oh, man.
Out there.
That was like drinking water out of a fire hose, right?
Yes. 1,000%, dude, because it's just so much, so many, just everything going on all at once. And there was that. I naively thought that, oh, yeah, man, I'll have time to sit down with you.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And you think it's going to be kind of a little bit more controlled, but it is such a I'm not going to say chaotic, right? But such a nonstop event.
It was controlled chaos.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
So everything went good for you out there, though?
Yes, it went absolutely great. The team we had put together with Jesse and Kenny and Sean, dude, they represented us so well out on the rodeo field. We was able to get donations come in, fundraising. Dude, we had a great time. It made it super good contacts, obviously, and was able to raise a lot of money to help a lot of folks.
I tell you what, man, I heard people all over the expo floor talking about the different stuff you had in your booth. The shotgun that actually has moving parts, and the tool belt all made from hand and stuff. It's stuff you don't see anywhere else that people thought was so cool.
Dude, the coolest thing for me, to be honest with you, was Mr. Ralph with Matty Tools. I don't know if you got to meet him or not, but he's 84 or something like that. And Jesse had said Matty actually helped us out, done some donations, all that kind of stuff, and I think tools for the rodeo team. He said, Mr. Ralph over there, he showed me a picture. It's 84-year-old fella's on top of a 40-foot pole. And so I made him a set of hooks as a thank you. Went over there, took them to him, and man, he was tore all to pieces about it. And I was like, sir, this is nothing. Like, thank you for help. And it was funny. I told him, I said, well, Mr. Ralph, I'll be honest, I want to be like you when I grow up. I mean, if I could be 84-year-old climbing a pole, yeah, I'll be a happy camper in.
And still out there enjoying life, going to events like the rodeo. That was a long day for me. I'm not 84.
Dude, I don't know. I can barely move now.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I don't know if I'll make it that far, but I hope so.
Well, we can all hope, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about Line Brothers Keeper, because you didn't just start this thing and end up at the rodeo, right? So when did you get started with this?
So it was, the way I see it, maybe born out of necessity, right?
Okay.
And I had come out of the Marine Corps back in 04, and when I come out of the Marine Corps in 04, there's not a lot of call for a nuclear, biological, chemical defense specialist, right?
Kind of a niche specialty, yeah.
Yeah. You don't have, you're neighborhood-friendly Spider-Man, right? Like, you don't have one of these guys walking down the road. And I got lucky. I got hired in with the municipal in Dixon, Tennessee. Started my line career, apprenticeship, line work, moved over into subs because my finicky, how to say it a good way, I guess my anal retentiveness, went parred well very, with all the little wires, right? Unfortunately, in 2017, I was involved in an accident where went in there and they told me I was going to lose my right arm, lose all the fingers on my left hand, and not having my safety glasses on, my contacts had melted in my eyes, and they told me,
oh man,
when you wake up, prepare to be blind. And dealing with the injury, the grafts, doctors, workers' comp, dealing with what I put my family through. We just saw a need that this unfortunately happens more than we like it to.
Yeah.
And if we can help folks out, process, and help navigate that journey for them, hence Line Brothers Keeper came about. Started a nonprofit and not feeling comfortable asking for donations, which, by the way, we take donations, right? But not feeling comfortable asking for them, I figured I'd make stuff, sell it, and
Of course.
hence, it's good to do something donation-wise because you feel good, but it's even better when you get something out of the deal.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
So,
Well, and I'm sure the woodworking part of it for you is kind of a therapy project too, right? That's kind of where you find your peace at and it calms you and all of that fun stuff, I'm sure.
yeah, yeah.
That's the version, right?
I can't sit. Look, the wife is sitting right over yonder.
Okay.
So it's my therapeutic getaway.
There you go.
Right.
I
That's it.
understand. I
Yeah.
understand. So I want to touch on some of that incident, and I know you talk about your incident a lot, so I don't want to go into a whole lot of detail on that, but there is one part of that that really catches me, and I've heard you say it before. It's the safety glasses part, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that catches me because it hits kind of close to home for me. Personally, I was working out west, and we were doing some underground stuff, and you know as well as I do, sometimes when you're looking at elbows inside of transformers and switch boxes and stuff, you can't see real good. So I had taken my dark glasses off and had them in my mouth, and we were switching some stuff around, and the load break elbow was loaded for 200 amps. And they did a little miscalculation, and there was more than 200 amps on this thing. So there was 3 of us around this, and we had different parts in the switching process. And as we were plugging and playing, one of those elbows got pulled off, and there was too much there. It couldn't break the load. So it went everywhere. Well, my glasses were in my mouth. So, of course, everybody drops their sticks and runs, and you think you're good. My eyes burnt and swelled up, and that night I can remember laying in the hotel room basically just crying because it hurt so bad, and I couldn't take myself to the hospital if I wanted to at that point because I couldn't see anything. And I think it's worth talking about because everybody wants these cool glasses anymore. They want to go on Amazon and find the coolest glasses that look nice and stuff. But don't forget the rating of your safety glasses and how important that is, right?
Oh, wholeheartedly, man. That's so I was. I guess I've become that guy, right? The guy that went from the line work and the substation work into the got hurt safety guy kind of thing. But I'm doing it not because I can't do line work. I can do line work. I went back to work at Dixon doing line work for several years after my injury, but honest to goodness, bottom of my heart, after dealing with this year alone with 100 folks that's been injured and or fatalities, bottom of my heart, whether I know you or don't know you, I don't want anybody having an accident. And one of the best ways to do that is every rule that you follow, right, is like a barrier between you and something going on. And you know as well as I do, 90% of the time, the safety glasses you wear, $3 pair you get from the warehouse, right? Cheapest thing they can find.
Yep.
And so you're right. They go in there, they find the cool, whatever brands they are, they look cool. Well, a lot of times, even when you buy the Z87 ones, right, that's what you're supposed to have. A lot of times they will come with the snap-on side shields, which guess what? You need to put them on too. I don't care if it looks cool or not. But at nighttime, especially, I know I was bad about it. Everybody I know was bad about it. Ours are all sunglasses.
Yeah.
We don't have the clear ones at nighttime like we should. We all know we should, but we don't do it. That's just the plain Jane truth of it. I promise you, when they told me, I had thought the whole helicopter ride up there about losing my arm. Because in my mind, I was alive, and I was like, all right, I can deal with the loss of an arm. Right? It is what it is. Nothing prepared me for when they said, when you wake up, you're going to be blind. Because 35-year-old wife, kids, house, cars, farm, you don't realize that if you were to close your eyes right now, never to open them again. You know, your youngins, if they're small, they're always going to be that size, right? And I'll get sappy on you real quick, but since she's sitting over here, it'll give me some brownie points anyway. But I had literally got to have 2 minutes with my wife in that ambulance before they took me off with life flight. That 2 minutes, quick conversation, but when they said you're going to be blind, I was trying to recall what color shirt she had on. I couldn't recall what color shirt she had on. And it's just, you don't realize what you take for granted until it's gone, right?
Yes.
Hence the reason it's so important to wear the PPE that we're provided, right? I mean, that's the company's got to give it to us. The basic stuff, the glasses, the FR, all that kind of jazz. Dude, it's there. Use it, right? That's just the whole point of it. And if you're going to go above and beyond, right, go get something cool looking. Dude, there's folks out there that, well, I don't know if I'm allowed to do this or not, but I guess you can edit it out. So I'll back up. There's folks out there that have helped our rodeo team, right? I don't know if you know Y Delta.
Yeah.
And so old Felipe with Y Delta, man, he hooked us up, got the rodeo team glasses. He's got legit Z87 safety glasses. And if that's your style, rock on with it, right? So there's good stuff out there, but just know whether it's a hard hat that you think looks cool, whether it's a set of safety glasses, check it. Make sure it's rated for what you're doing. Because if not, and just like you said, you had it in your mouth, right?
Yeah.
You can see I've got my sleeves rolled up. That's what we do. Across the country, linemen out there, we're about 95% the same. We know we can get away with it, we get away with it. All it takes is that one time for Murphy to catch up with you. And if you don't have all them little safety rules set in place, Murphy's gonna win that one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. One of the first foremen that I had when I got into the industry was very particular about steps and procedures, and he wanted you to do it the same way every time, no matter what. And being new in the industry, I didn't understand that. Well, yeah, I get it, but I can do it this way right now. And it took him pulling me aside one day and being like, listen, kid, at 3 o'clock in the morning, when you've worked 14 hours straight and it's raining and we're out here trying to get these lights on, I want you to rely on muscle memory and what we've taught you to do over and over again so that you don't cut those corners, because that's what gets you hurt in this industry. And it didn't even register with me until he had to spell it out for me. I'm like, you're exactly right. That's the discipline of the trade, and that's why this trade's not cut out for just anybody.
No. That's one thing I've seen bouncing around the country and talking to folks and visiting different things. And I've even taught at schools and different things that the young folks that choose to get into this line of work and choose to go to a pre-apprentice school or something along them lines, my hat's off to you. It is, because a lot of times they come from a background, their daddy, their granddaddy, uncle, somebody's in the line of work, and so they know about it. They want to get into it. And it's a whole lot better than somebody just stepping off a street. But you get into this line of work, you got to have that work ethic behind you, and you got to know. It's going to be weird saying this and weird how this sounds probably, but you got to know that you don't know
Exactly
what you don't know, right? And I mean, your story is a perfect example of that. Oh man, we could do this; it'd be quicker. Well, this will be easier. Look, dude, this is how it is because you need to fall back on this. I mean, we have one of them old managers that come up from a tree trimmer to an apprentice. He worked himself all the way up, and he was one of them managers. I promise you did not go home till the lights came on.
Yeah.
And one Christmas, I worked 56 hours. Yeah, 56 hours solid. And the boy that was on call worked 100 hours solid. And I mean, not go home, right? And when you get that kind of time poured into a day, into 2 days, into 3 days, yeah, that muscle memory kicks in then, because it's all about, that's right, I need to do this. That's right, I need to do that. And without exactly what you said, follow these steps, do these things this way, it will protect you. You can't just, This ain't a fake it till you make it kind of job.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And rightfully so.
Yeah.
We all get kind of numb to the risk that we take out there every day, because that blue dragon's just sitting there waiting to grab you any point in time. It may not even be something that you necessarily did wrong. It could be an equipment failure. It can be whatever. But if you didn't have your shirt buttoned up all the way and that equipment failed right in front of you, guess what? You're carrying those burns on your chest.
Mhm.
Like it's just that simple.
That's one of the things that I've seen, that with the majority of folks that we help, a lot of them, and I think that's why, as a lineman doing this, right? Like, there's other organizations out there that help, and they do awesome jobs, man. My hat's off to them. And in fact, all the other organizations that are out there on our website, we've got contacts for them all, because I'm not here to say, look at me, right? You gotta get your help through me. Dude, it takes a village to get you back on your feet. But I think one of our benefits is, you're getting advice, you're getting the help, you're getting the assistance and support of a guy that's been exactly where you are, right? It's not a group of folks that are, either somehow associated with it kind of thing or whatever. I've climbed in poles. I've been in that bucket. I felt that stuff bite. I know what it's about, and I've laid in that hospital bed. And my wife has been the one that's, laid sleepless at night when them storms are rolling in, and then have to deal with me laid in that bed. We know what it's about. We, honest to goodness, bottom of our heart, know how bad and how terrible it is. And anything we can do to help lighten that load, that's what it's about. I mean, it's whether union, non-union, contract, co-op, muni, IOU, whatever it is, it's the brotherhood mentality. It's that family mentality that I think us as an industry could really benefit from taking about 2 steps back and not be so big in our britches that we're the big companies, that we're the big, corporate things. We take a step back and realize where our roots are, who we are, and then at the end of the day, I spend more time with you, you spend more time with me than we do with them.
Yeah.
We got to look out for each other. That's all there is to it, man, because if we don't, it's the worst part about my accident, and I know I keep talking here, but the worst part about my accident wasn't the fact I got hurt. Wasn't the scars, the burns, wasn't any of that stuff. I mean, that hurt, don't get me wrong. Worst part of my accident was knowing there was a lineman standing about 18 inches, 24 inches behind me, and he got hurt. I allowed that to happen. I allowed another man to come into my house, right, my substation, and get hurt on my watch. That right there is what bothers me every day. There's a sense of ownness right there that, as a foreman, crew leader, lead lineman, owner of a business, contractor, whatever it is, it ain't about, making your pockets bigger. It ain't about how many folks you can put out on a storm. It's about taking care of the folks that you got there. And that right there, to me, is the biggest thing that we need to improve as a utility or as an industry in this world, to be honest with you. But of course, that's coming from a redneck lineman out of Tennessee.
Well, and the industry, it's real easy for the industry to get caught up in itself and look at everyone that does the work as just numbers on paper, right? I've got this many FTEs for this storm. I've got this many linemen in my yard. I can get you this many poles. All those numbers are great, but when it comes down to it, there's heartbeats and pulses that go along with those numbers.
Yeah.
And like you said, it'll do all of us a little bit of good to kind of do a little bit of an ego check and step back and be like we all put our pants on one leg at a time. We all have stuff going on in our lives outside of work, and everything affects what you do when you're at work, even if you try to make it not. And a little bit more grace in that aspect, I think, would go a long way.
Oh yeah, wholeheartedly.
So let's talk about the Line Brothers Keeper part of it. Kind of tell everybody a little bit about what you guys do, because you guys do some awesome stuff, and I think it goes deeper than just raising money and that part of it, because when this stuff happens, the system doesn't exactly help the people who have been in those situations. And you know that firsthand how hard that is to navigate. So let's talk about kind of how you tackle some of that stuff.
So with one thing we really try to do is, now granted we are small, but you know, I do everything I can kind of thing. A lot of folks, and I hate to say this because it's sort of like getting nose blind, right? Like it's just, you see, hey, this nonprofit's asking for help again for another guy or for another fatality or for another injury kind of thing. Oh, he's asking for this again. You're 1,000% right. Yeah, I am asking, but because to me, every one of them is just as important as the other one.
Of course.
Because there's a guy, you know, either laid up in the hospital and he's got a 2-year-old, or this fellow over here that passed away, he's got a little 3-year-old little girl, and wife's 20 weeks pregnant kind of thing. And, you know, every one of them is important. And so we try to make it a more personable kind of thing, because it ain't just about you in the hospital. Doctor's got you better. Here's the surgeries, healed up, go home. All right, he's home, you know, or 6 months later, he's back at work. It takes a while. And in fact, three fellas I've been talking to. In fact, before we walked up and sat down, that's who I was texting. Them three fellas all had burns, mostly on their stomach, chest, arms, and underarms. And like with my grafts, I mean, it's just skin on muscle pretty much. There's no sweat glands, there's no oil glands. But with them boys, because they're underarms, all three of these folks from different parts of the country are having problems even getting their arms up to like the neutral level. And so their possibility of going back into line work when you've been doing it for 6, 10, 20 years, the possibility about them going back into line work, it may not be there. You know what I mean? And so we try to offer, you know, if I can, heck, I do safety classes, right? I will do safety classes with folks. We'll get them certified up on that. We'll talk about other avenues that you can do things. But there's other aspects that folks never ever consider, and I don't want them to consider it.
Yeah.
Honestly, because I don't want anybody to have an accident. But there's other aspects to consider. Workers' comp stuff. I had this very naive idea that for every day I stayed on workers' comp, I stayed at the house, that I was taking money out of the lineman's pocket back at my utility, right? Maybe I was going to be the reason why we didn't get that new bucket truck next year, right? It ain't that way.
No.
It's, you are now, regardless of how much that company loves you, you could be the best line work. We all know a couple of them, like God's gift to line work.
Yeah.
You know them guys,
Oh, yeah.
right? You could be that guy, right? That you make that company so much money and all that kind of stuff. That company is out of it.
That's it.
Their hands are washed of it, because now it's in the hands of that workers' comp company. That's who you're fighting. You're fighting an insurance company. They're not really known about passing out money.
No.
Right? To them, 1,000% your number. That's all it is to it. They want you heal up, get back to work so they can get you off our books.
And they've got a team of lawyers to help.
Lord, yes. And they are going to make sure that they cover their behind all the way through it. We advise folks, right? We've, me and the wife, classes on the side. I'm talking like paralegal classes for workers' comp, right? Like, who would ever need a paralegal class for workers' comp? Well, guess what? You learn a little bit more about it.
Yeah.
And so the more we know about it, the more we can help folks. So we do that kind of stuff. We're there. I've actually beat some companies to the hospital. Like, they would life flight in a fella. I'd be there before the company safety man shows up, and I'm just walking in there like, hey, you don't know me, but here's what I'm for, right? Like,
Yeah.
and talk to them. And I mean, I still talk to them boys. You know what I mean? We want to help guide you through that process. And then my wife, she's able to step in and do parts of it that I can't do. Because I can talk all day about laying there screaming in pain, right? And all that kind of stuff. But she's over there now it's, well, he's the one that's always paid the bills. He knows all the passwords.
Yeah.
Who's got to pick the kids up from soccer? Have you got a sister? Have you got an uncle? What can we do this way? What can we do that way?
When's the homeowner's insurance due?
Yes,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. There's all kinds of pieces involved when you go down either injury, fatality, something like that. And it's so much just keeps piling on top of you. Whatever we can do to lighten that burden, that's what we're going to do. If that means raising money, we'll raise money. But if that means sitting there talking to you, if that means that we can get in touch with, we've got a young lady that helps us. She's on the government side of things and knows a bunch about benefits that people pay into and all that kind of stuff. She can talk them through it. She can help them get the benefits they're due, right? And just understanding all that, it's so much stuff involved in an accident that with Line Brothers Keeper, the nonprofit thing, it ain't just, hey, buy this, give me some money. I want to help them out. Here's some money. Because there's places that do that, which that's fine because money helps. I ain't gonna lie. But it's, hey, what's going on? Okay, yeah. I tell you what, get a hold of this person. They will help you get through this process here. Or we've even got folks out there that volunteer that, how to say this as sensitively as I can, right? But line wives that are now line widows.
Yeah.
Right. And we've got folks like that that are willing to take time out of their schedule, out of their day, out of their life, and talk to these young ladies or, these people that are dealing with it today, that all this stuff is happening today. And they're able to walk them through because they went through it a year ago or 2 years ago. Stuff like that, to me, is so much more important than the money aspect.
100%.
That's what we aim to do.
And that's why I wanted you to kind of touch on that, because this is not just another fundraiser, another ask for money for something. There's so much more that you guys do at Line Brothers Keeper behind the scenes that people don't realize that are priceless. You can't put a price tag on walking someone through those situations and making them feel comfortable with the mounds of paperwork. I had a lady call me, it's probably been almost 2 years ago, but she called me and was talking to me about her husband had been in an accident. And while she was in the waiting room, he's back in surgery, had just got hit with 7,200 volts. The company is asking her to sign paperwork in the waiting room. And she doesn't, and she went off on them and kind of put them in their place. But that's the kind of stuff these people are dealing with in those situations. And to have a resource where they can call somebody. I've heard you talk before. Your phone will ring in the middle of the night sometimes. And you can give advice when you can get it. Obviously, if you're asleep, you're asleep. It is what it is. But there are no business hours with Line Brothers Keeper.
No. That's the thing about it. And the wife can attest to this. And I'm learning the whole social media aspect of it and all the TikToking and all that jazz. And I was on a TikToking thing last night doing getting a set of hard hooks for that lineman that passed away up in Kentucky yesterday or the day before, and trying to get them done so I can hopefully be able to hand deliver them today, right? So that right there for us is, put it this way, right? Like you drive through, get your coffee or something like that, and you pay for the fella behind you or something, right?
Yeah.
You having a good day, maybe you got a good overtime check. I don't know. Maybe you're just feeling it, right? That's the whole thought process I've got, is the good Lord allowed me to stay here for some reason. He allowed me to keep mostly everything, right? Like I say, I can't count to 10, but I couldn't count to 10 to begin with. But I hope I'm trying to pay it forward is what I'm trying to do. And with the brotherhood mentality of this thing, and for us being together as much as we're together, and like me and you, I guarantee we could sit here to them batteries run down.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you've got as many stories as I've got, dude, about some of the goofiest stuff and some of the dumbest stuff you've ever seen and all that. But that's the beautiful part about it. You have to be a certain kind of individual to be in this kind of work. And that draws us even tighter. And so when something bad does happen, which of course I'd rather prevent it,
Yeah.
right? That's the whole purpose and point behind everything. Prevent it. But if something bad does happen, by all means, man, that's what we're here for. Call us up, walk it. If you just need somebody to, I've had some to where it was a mom or a dad. Mm, I had a dad from Florida call me up 3 or 4 months ago about that accident that happened down there, and buddy, he was
That's heavy.
he needed somebody to just let it out. You know what I mean? And so, hey, dude, that's what I'm here for. You know what I mean? I get it. I get it. I understand where you're coming from. So whether you need a shoulder to lean on or ear to listen, that's part of it.
And my hat goes off to you, because those are heavy conversations that not anybody could handle, right? And like you said, you've been there and done that, and that kind of helps be able to work your way through those situations, I'm sure. So let's talk about the industry for a second. So this year on record, if not the worst, one of the worst for fatalities and injuries for the utilities, right?
That's what I'm seeing thus far. I can say with what we have seen, right? And here's the kicker on it, is this is what we know about.
Exactly.
That's the real big kicker in my mind, in my opinion, that I think there needs to be a better way that this gets out there. But thus far, I think we're up to 100 thus far to date, and that's injuries and fatalities, incidences. I'm going to say probably 30 mark with fatalities at least. And it's, the majority of them, when I talk to them, they go, oh, dude, well, I could have done this, or I should have done that. Like talking to a fellow the other day in Texas, he straight up was like, yeah, I didn't test those. He's like, I know I should have. The majority of them are like that, and we all know that. That's the way my accident was. If I would have done the right steps the right way, I wouldn't be here right now, because I wouldn't have got hurt.
Yeah.
But there's that handful that just happen. Like, it's just, you can't anticipate it, you can't know it, you can't prevent it, kind of thing. It is legitimately just out of the blue, something bad happens, right? But the industry itself, I'm hoping what we're going to do is try to do a collaboration kind of thing with the other organizations out there, to where we can compile this data, because I don't know about your thoughts on this, but I think we need some kind of national database to where we can say, ain't got to have names, ain't got to have companies, right? Ain't even got to have the age of the fella. I could care less. Just what happened, how it happened, because there ain't no going back and fixing it.
No.
You ain't undoing them scars. You ain't undoing that, pulling him out of the ground, right? But what you can do is take that and hopefully use that to educate, teach, train everybody it comes after, so that won't happen again. I think we need to do that as an industry, but of course, there's a whole lot smarter people out there than me.
No, but you're on the right track. Making more safety rules and making more policies is not the answer. We've got safety rules up to our necks, but stuff's still happening.
Yeah.
Triple digits of incidents that we know about this year. There's a huge pile kicked underneath the rug that we don't even talk about or see. And I think you're on the right track. I've said for years, we need to make it to where we get all the information anonymously, so that no one's pointing fingers. There's no lawyers coming after anybody, any of that. Anonymously. I don't need a location. I need to know the details. How big was the crew? How much experience do they have? All of that kind of stuff.
Yep.
What type of day was it? How many hours they worked that week? Like, let's get all of those details, and let's start keeping track of that and talking about all of that stuff.
Yep.
Because there's something that's a common denominator in these that we're not finding, and we're not going to find it until we talk about it.
There's a company out there that has done insurance coverage for co-ops, like all over the U.S. for 50 years, right? And this company puts out some good numbers, and what they typically see is like, the guys that are 30 to 40 years old, been doing it 10, 20 years, that's your typical guys that get hurt. Because like you said, how many times you changed out of A1? How many times you hung a pot in the service, right? And stuff like that, it gets mundane. I've done it a million times. It's no big deal. So we get complacent. We get comfortable. That's typically the guys we see get hurt. But I have seen this year, and dipping in a little bit of last year, I've seen a rise in younger guys. It's literally the past 2 weeks to a month. Every one of the, I won't say about every one of the fatalities has been under 30. And I know 4 or 5 before that, all under 30. I see a rise in the younger guys getting injured, getting burnt, getting hurt. I don't know what to put my finger on yet as far as I hear some stories. Some I hear straight out of the horse's mouth. Problem is like me, you got bits and pieces of the accident, but you don't have it like everything, because your brain does a really good job of trying to protect you and it shuts different things out. But even straight from the horse's mouth, it's hard to know exactly what happened. And then when you get the eyewitness accounts, well, they all sort of differ a little bit. But I don't know if it's because we've got untrained folks that we're putting in positions that I imagine you were the same way. I know I was. If they ever said, "Hey, can you do that?"
Oh, I can do it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But let me hop in that bucket, right?
Yeah,
You
I'll
just
show you.
Yeah. That's a good and a bad thing, right? Like that's a double-edged sword right there, because then we're liable to put folks in positions they don't need to be in when they're not ready, they're not trained.
Yeah.
Versus the other side of that coin is now, if they've not got the training and not had all that stuff, we're losing, dude. We're losing so many years experience from guys retiring and different things. Even folks getting to that point where they're sort of halfway retiring, mid-50s, early 60s kind of thing, to where they could probably hang around another 5-10 years. But I tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and lay out, and I'm going to catch a storm every now and then.
Yeah.
Make a little pocket money. And so we're losing so much of that the younger guys don't have that mentorship that we used to have, right? And all that. So there's a lot of variables that go into it. It's hard to put my finger on it yet, but there's something that you can drill down to that we can hit on.
And it's one thing, I mean, we work in crews most of the time, right? It's one thing for the apprentice to be that, oh yeah, I can get in the bucket, I can show you mentality, and the lead lineman to be like, oh, hold on a minute. Yeah, I know you think you can do it, but you're not ready for this reason, that reason, the other. It's another thing if the guy in the pickup truck that's in charge of that crew is that way, right? Topped out 1 year as a journeyman and now he's pushing a crew. That's the scariest situation to me, and it happens all the time.
Yes, 1,000%. I've seen it where you got fellas that are 26-year-old that topped out a year, that, like you said, pushing crews, whole 9 yards, and it may not be because, it might honestly be that the co-op, the company or whatever, just don't have the manpower to do it, and they're sort of falling back on, we got to have these guys. Well, do we? Right?
Yeah.
Like, think about that. Think about that crew, those 4 or 5 folks right there, that digger, that bucket, all this stuff, and think about one fatality. Think about one injury, and think about them zeros right there. And you tell me whether them two things equate and make sense, because all it takes is that one time. I've seen contractors running, gunning, pushing, making money, and then in one injury, one fatality, and they're turned upside down.
Yeah. Now the math doesn't math anymore. Yeah. Yeah.
So there's, unfortunately, the way the world is, right? We've got a lot of young folks with a good head on their shoulder that need a good work ethic, or if they have a good work ethic, they can make a heck of a living in this line of work. It's just, for all the folks out there listening, whole 9 yards, wanting to get into this industry, understand you don't know what you don't know yet.
Yeah.
And don't come into this thing assuming you do. That's the scariest thing in the world, because you will not even understand what happens when it does.
Yeah. This is not a fake it till you make it industry.
Nope.
So Let's talk about Zach for a minute, right? So I know the Line Brothers keeper keeps you very busy, and you do a lot of other stuff on top of that. What do you do to unwind? What do you do to kind of let off steam and get your brain to kind of relax for a minute? Or does that even happen?
Well, it does occasionally,
Okay.
right? It does occasionally. I got into a weird hobby a couple years ago. Well, it's been longer than that now. Probably been 6, 7 years ago now. But I had my daughter doing piano lessons. She despised it. I made her go anyway. But had my daughter doing piano lessons, and in a substation one day, I caught a little bitty, what I thought was a little red-tailed hawk. Right, he was on the gravel, couldn't fly off. I took him home, done some googling, fed him up, took care of him, got him where he could fly around. Got scared that, I'm breaking the law, so I need to turn him loose, right? I probably shouldn't admit any of that. But turned him loose and everything. Since my accident and stuff like that, like coincidence, I don't know if I necessarily believe in it, because things just happen, right? When a door closes, a window open kind of thing.
Yep.
And my daughter's piano teacher, she said one day when she come home, she said, well, Mr. Dave has a bird like you. And I was like, dude, what? Thinking she saw a cockatiel. I don't know. You know what I mean? No, he had a full-size red-tailed hawk. And I said, hold up, man. Lo and behold, he's a licensed falconer. And it's funny, in per capita in the state of Tennessee, I think our little town with about 2,000 people, we're by ratio the highest per capita falconers per population in the state of Tennessee. There's 3 of us.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. So I catch hawks, train them up. We squirrel hunt, rabbit hunt, stuff like that. And it's, some used to deer hunt, sit up there and freeze your butt off.
Yeah.
And have to be quiet, be still. No. No, it never really parred with me. So turning a hawk loose in the woods and then you running and hollering and screaming and shaking trees, it's awesome.
That's cool.
It's awesome. So that's on the way up here today. That's what I was doing. I was looking at hawks on the side of the road. And normally she despises it because I'll bring a trap.
Yeah.
And I'm trapping as I'm driving.
There you go.
And she's like, why? Why? But she also doesn't like it when I bring them in the house neither. So
I can understand that a little bit. Yeah. Kind of makes it hard to sleep. You got to have one eye open.
Yeah, well, I'll go ahead and say this and get in trouble because she can't hit me while we're sitting here. When I would bring a hawk in, so when you start training that hawk, right, at first they're scared to death of you, right? Because you have to catch them out of the wild. Like, it has to be a wild hawk. And you sit there on your glove holding them. After a day or two, they sort of warm up to you. Then you get to feed them a little bit. And then you would set them a little bit, a foot away from you. Then they come to you. Then you set them 2 or 3 foot, 4 or 5 foot. And you keep moving it. Well, I would have them sitting over there on the kitchen table. I'd be in the living room, call them over, and they come over. Well, possibly, because I thought it was funny, I might slip over behind the couch while somebody's sitting on the couch watching TV, and I would call the hawk over, and it would fly. And she said it looked like, this hawk just is eyeball to eyeball, like staring at you like it's fixing to grab your face and rip it off. And it would go right over her head, right?
Oh, man.
And yeah, I got in trouble for that.
I can understand where that might not go over real well.
Yeah. I thought it's hilarious.
You laughing while you're doing it probably didn't help anything either.
No.
That's pretty cool.
So that's one of the hobbies I got right there. Do a little bit of falconry hunting and stuff like that, and we farm and fish and different things, and just, try to relax. I got some older boys in their 20s and stuff, and we're constantly mechanicking on something. So always working, building, doing different stuff like that. That's
very much a hands-on kind of guy.
It's weird to do something that's relaxing. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
You should relax, but we got to do something to relax.
I understand. So what about this? So what do you think you'd be doing if you would never had your accident?
Right now, I guarantee you, I'd still be doing the falconry thing because I guarantee my daughter still had to do piano lessons. But where I come from, the progression of folks that end up in management typically go from the line side substation, because then you get to learn more than just about, big end goes to ground, wire goes on top kind of thing, right? You learn the system. You understand everything from the regulators to the reclosers. You understand about paralleling and circuitry and
How it all works
stuff.
together. Yep.
And then you even get to see about, considering that your local power company, your LPC, right? You got a meter at that place just like you do at your house because they're buying power from whoever generates it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to make liaisons with the transmission generation. That path right there typically takes you into the superintendent role. And I've done some classes, the buddy, the boss, and
Yep.
all that good stuff. So that's where I would have more likely ended up superintendent. Now, granted, we're not a big municipal. It's 20, 25 linemen, stuff like that. I'd have probably ended up there. And if I'd have stuck around, a good possibility I still ended up there. But I honestly, tell you the truth, man, with the accident, with the injuries, with the burns and all that good stuff, even the limitations physically wise, I couldn't get over the mental part of it. I couldn't see myself telling these guys what to do, knowing I screwed up, knowing I got hurt, and how I felt like I was less of a lineman, less of a leader, less of all this stuff because obviously I screwed up. Obviously I broke the rules. So why are they going to listen to me?
Yeah.
So I sort of bowed out, backed out, and, I said, I ain't going to do that. But I could have probably had the headache of dealing with 25 kindergartners.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know how
That's what it would have felt like.
Yeah,
I guarantee it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like herding cats. Linemen, we're the biggest. I don't know where you come from, but we called it as the meter turned.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. It's your own soap opera.
Oh Lord, yes. We're always griping. If a lineman ain't griping, we ain't happy.
That's exactly right.
And that's just the way we are, man. Yep. But I would have to be putting up with that. But we all ask for our own burdens, right?
Well, it worked out, right? I mean, you're doing some amazing stuff. You're helping more people than most people can even imagine helping. And all that happens for a reason. I feel like, you know what I mean? It wasn't fun. It wasn't a great path. I'm sure you wouldn't recommend it to anybody.
Oh, yeah.
But that kind of stuff does happen for a reason, unfortunately.
That's it. I had somebody actually tell me that they heard us speak, me and my wife speak, doing our little safety presentation where, we got all the bloody, gory pictures and all that. And I talk about what I did, the rules I broke, what happened. And old boy said, man, y'all are phenomenal. And I was like, what? I've been called a lot of stuff, dude. Called phenomenal? I don't know about phenomenal.
That's a lot more letters than what they usually use.
Yeah. I don't even know. Let's start with a P or an F, right? Like, I don't know. I'd rather go out there and stand in front of folks and show them what I did, tell them what I did.
Yeah.
Because I'm an idiot, and I know I am, and I'm good at it. I'd rather be that idiot and then have folks go like, I don't want to end up like him, right? So I should probably do the right thing the right way, right? So I'm good at that. I know this is my path, and this is what I'm rolling with. So I am where I need to be.
I like it, man. So if somebody wants to reach out to you guys, whether it's to get you to come do a safety presentation or for Line Brothers Keeper, how do they find you? What's the best path there?
We got 2 or 3 options, honestly. My head of IT, all that good stuff, my lovely wife, right? The head of IT, whole 9 yards. So we've got linebrotherskeeper.org.
Okay.
And you can reach us via that. We've got the social media, the Facebook at Line Brothers Keeper, Instagram, Line Brothers Keeper, even TikTok stuff. Oh, man. I'm pre-warning you. What you see is what you get on that one. But
it's all good stuff.
I'm learning on that one right there. But we've got all the social media sites. Line Brothers Keeper, you can request. What I tell folks is right on the front page of it, on that website, if you need help, if you know somebody needs help, it says request assistance, click it. It's like 10 questions, who needs the help, where they're at, and it's just want to make sure everybody understands this. Anytime anybody talks to us, because I get a lot of this, well, I don't know. I don't know if I should tell you this. I don't know if I should tell you that. Look, dude, I ain't here but for one reason, and it's because I want to help. I could care less about what company. I could care less about who was doing what. I don't even really honestly care about the accident. I just need to know what kind of help that fella needs.
Yeah.
That's all I care about. That's the only reason why I ask questions. Everything's 100% confidential. You ain't going to worry about me spreading nothing around. The only time I say stuff is when the family, the company says, yeah, by all means, share this. Until then, I don't share. I don't talk. I just say, hey, we got a report of this. Somebody needs help. If you want to donate, if you want to buy something, whatever, just know that if you do, it's going to that guy right there, that kind of thing. So that's typically how it is. Website, Facebook, because you can message.
Yep.
Our phone number's on there, email, all that good stuff. So you can just holler at us. We'll get back with you.
Perfect. So just know that if you are trying to reach out, help, whether you want to donate some money or whether you want to have a conversation, that kind of stuff, Line Brothers Keeper can be found out there. Basically, if you Google it, it'll come up all over the place. And don't be afraid to reach out to them. They're one of the most genuine nonprofit organizations out there. Like he said, he's here to help people, and I think you do an amazing job, Zach. I don't know anybody that's got more passion for what they do than you. So there's a lot to be said for that.
I appreciate it. I've enjoyed the far out of this. Like I said, I wish we'd hooked up months and months ago and all that kind of jazz, and it was just couldn't ever make the gears go together on that one right there. But I love what you do here, man. Love your stuff. Even though you might have to have Jesse on before you had me on.
I figured that was coming.
Understand. No, but dude, you're doing a great thing, man. I love what you do because you're helping pass that knowledge on, and that's what needs to go on in this industry. You're calling out the things that need to be called out. You're talking about. That's the best way to do this is open a dialogue and just, dude, talk about it.
Yep.
Good Lord, just talk about it. Bring it up and talk about it. I guarantee you when folks think they have a question, I don't want to ask it. There's 5 other people with the same question. Just ask it.
Yep.
Let's talk about it. That's why I love what you're doing, man. Love your podcast. Love the Power Grid Talks, man. It's just, what you're doing is phenomenal. I love it. I'm using that word again, phenomenal. I only use that for like a month and then I'll forget I even know it. But
oh, that's awesome. I appreciate you coming down. We're going to catch up again. This won't be the last time we see you on here. But thanks for the time, and we're going to pass on the word, too.
Hey, we greatly appreciate it. Thank you for having us, man.
That's it for today's episode of Power Grid Talks, from the bucket trucks to the boardrooms. I'm your host, Tom Williamson. I want to thank you for joining me as we talk to the people behind the scenes who keep our grid strong. If you enjoyed this conversation, be sure to hit that subscribe button, give it a share, and leave a review so we can keep bringing more voices from across the utility world to the conversation table. You can also find us at PowerGridTalks.com. Until next time, stay safe and keep the power flowing.